In the last lecture module, we looked at Descartes' reflex arc, that sensory motor arc that Descartes explicates to explain how stimulation to the sensory organs causes movements in the animal spirits, the ephemeral matter in the tubules that are our nerves. That transmits up to the third ventricle. It stimulates the pineal gland. That results in emotional responses and also movements of the pineal gland that then trigger the motor response. In this module, we want to look at that motor response, the hydraulic or balloon theory of motor movement, and then draw some methodological observations to conclude our discussion of Descartes. This picture on the bottom right is a drawing from Salomon de Casse's 1615 book, Les raisons des forces motrices avec diverses machines tant utilitaires que plaisantes auxiliaires sont agents plosiers dressings de grottes en fortunes, which you can tell I haven't taken French since junior high school, but that translates to the reasons for moving forces with various machines, both useful and pleasant, to which are added several designs of groats and fountains. This particular fountain was described as to represent the song of a bird in its natural sound by means of water. So Descartes is inspired by these hydraulic kinetic sculptures that we see that don't just use water moving around, don't just shoot water here and there, but they use water to actually create movement, sound, and in this way to drive automatons. Now, he uses that as an inspiration and adapts a already existing view about the nature of motor movement and motor control, and that essentially says that animal spirits flow into the muscles. When the pineal gland gets stimulated, moves, it causes these vibrations that transmits the animal spirits into the muscles, and that inflates those muscles, causing contractions of the muscles. Now, this was refuted shortly after he published it by a Dutch anatomist, Jan Swammerdam, who was famous for working with insects prior to this. He did some experiments where he created some nerve muscle preparations and showed that the muscles do not increase in size when they contract, thereby putting the balloon theory to a crucial test and showing that the major prediction from its central mechanism was in fact falsified. Now, one might wonder what it was that powered all this hydraulic action. It wasn't, of course, little water wheels turning inside the body, but it wasn't that much more plausible, really. We see the mechanism explicated, which explains both bodily motion and, according to Descartes, the circulation of the blood on page 113 of Treatise on Man, where Descartes tells us it is not necessary to conceive of this machine as having any vegetative or sensitive soul or other principle of movement and life apart from its blood and its spirits, which are agitated by the heat of the fire burning continuously in its heart, a fire which has the same nature as all fires that occur in inanimate bodies. So it's hard for us contemporarily to imagine that anyone with any anatomical or physiological knowledge would suppose that there was a fire just like the one you build by your campsite burning inside your heart, generating the energy that drives your body like some sort of bizarro world steampunk automaton. But this in fact was a common view. We saw it all the way back in Aristotle.